This is First GenXers.
All right. Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Le Classroom, brought to you by First GenXers Presents Broadcast Network. I am your host, Dark Lord 100, otherwise known as Double KK Double, and I am here with my co-host, the one and only Mr. Suave. Hopefully, we'll be joined by O'Malley a little bit later. We'll see if she taps in. But for right now, it's just me and Suave, and we're going to go on ahead and dig in and start early with a little bit of other sports talk, and that means that we're going to be talking something other than football or basketball, because once again, it was kind of a fruitless week, and when it came to football, not much went on from any perspective outside of we can touch on one real quick. Kirk Cousins signing with the Raiders. Any thoughts on this? I know that the contract, a lot of people were bursting upwards about the contract because it's supposed to be like 5 years, 120 million or something like that. But it's really like a 1 year contract and only worth 20 million actual guaranteed.
Yeah, smart move by the Raiders. They get a quarterback that knows how Kubiak wants to play, how he wants the quarterback to read the offense. It's going to be Kubiak's offense again from when they were together in Minnesota. So it is a 5 year deal, but it essentially is the guaranteed money's all up front in the first year. The Falcons are paying 10.3 million this year. Raiders are only paying the veteran minimum, and then he gets a $10 million signing bonus. So essentially, he's going to make 20+ million dollars this year, and then the Raiders can cut the contract and make way for Mendoza. I think it's a smart move for the team. I think though I've seen a lot of things, including Cam Newton talking about Kirk Cousins isn't really the mentor type because of what happened in Atlanta, and I think that those instances are dramatically different. Kirk Cousins went to Atlanta not thinking they'd draft a quarterback for at least 3 seasons because he signed a 4 year, $160 million deal. That was incredibly unexpected. So he wasn't in the right frame of mind going in. You know, he hadn't even had an off season or a training camp, I should say, with the Falcons, and they go ahead and draft his replacement with a pick that they could have used to bolster the team for him to be the guy. Um, so he didn't really have the mentality or desire to want to show Phoenix the ropes. And I guess Michael Phoenix has come out and said that, you know, it was kind of tough. You know, Kirk wasn't really showing him a lot of things. And it's like, yeah, the Falcons made a dysfunctional decision between the players. You know, you can't really blame Kirk for that per se. But in this instance with the Raiders, he comes in already knowing he's going to be the bridge quarterback. He understands that it's all about getting Mendoza ready, showing he can mentor, and at the same time be given an opportunity to start for the Raiders next year and show that he can take a average roster or up and coming roster, however you want to look at it, and help get them over the edge to being a good roster, playing good football. So this is his opportunity to, one, show he can mentor a young guy, and two, show that he can still start at a high NFL level as he's done throughout most of his career, even going back to the Washington days.
I'll say this. I think what happens with Kirk Cousins and the Mendoza situation will be dictated by how quickly Mendoza grows and how well Kirk Cousins plays. Because I think what it is at this point we're all assuming that most likely Kirk Cousins is your day one starter for 2026, and Mendoza sits on the bench for at least a couple of games, depending on how his training camp goes, while he's waiting for Kirk, or while Kirk is waiting for him to develop. Now, I don't necessarily know that they're expecting Kirk to come in and help develop this kid. I think that's a natural thing that just kind of happens when you have an older player with a younger player, if both are receptive to doing so. But that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be receptive to doing so. I think Kirk looks at himself as having a maybe 2 year audition to try to go get himself a permanent spot out there. Unfortunately, that has been Kirk Cousins' career throughout his entire career. It's been him playing for a year or two, trying to establish that he is a starting quarterback so that somebody will bring him in long term. And unfortunately, Atlanta was not that spot, and we all know that the Raiders are not going to be that spot. I think it sets up a deal that's good for the Raiders and that's good for Kirk Cousins, because he can be let go at any point. Like, there's not going to be a struggle to keep him. If they feel Mendoza is the guy, Mendoza starts day one, Kirk can sit as his backup this 1 year, make veteran minimum, and make his 20-something million dollars that he's going to make in general, and then go someplace else, and it doesn't hurt the Raiders cap. It doesn't hurt the Raiders situation at all. But if Mendoza takes a little bit to develop, and they need somebody to be that stand-in, that bridge, to keep them competitive while Mendoza learns the way of the NFL, I think Kirk Cousins is a guy that can do that. Like, I think he's proven that. He can keep a team afloat. He can keep them looking better than average. And so I think that it's really going to boil down to, did the Raiders fix their offensive line problems this year? If they did, I think Cousins can do some damage with Gentry and Bowers and some of the weapons that they have out there for sure. But we'll see. We'll see. Kirk Cousins, welcome to the Raiders. Huh. All right, so now we're going to get into March Madness. And we're going to start off on one side of the bracket. The championship game takes place tomorrow night. Michigan, who defeated Tennessee in the Elite Eight, and Alabama in the Sweet 16 to get to the Final Four. And then they went on to beat number one, Arizona, 91-73, thrashed them. Wire to wire, setting a record by scoring 90-plus points in 5 consecutive tournament games. And they are in the championship tournament. Any thoughts on this Michigan squad and their chances to take it all? Because when we get to who their opponent's going to be, you'll see why I say the chance to take it all. But go on, Clark.
So I'll be honest, when the player said that this was the best Michigan team in history, I think he did that to kind of light a fire and keep them fully engaged, so there was no real let off, and it showed in the Arizona game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they have a very good opportunity to put themselves in the conversation, if they're able to get that title. Um, I won't say there's no question, but I do think that there's only one or two Michigan squads all time that could challenge them to be the called the best Michigan team ever. Right now, they're dominating. They look like they kind of remind me of Indiana in how they've approached the game and what they've been doing in the tournament so far. So I think they look really strong, and I'd be very surprised if they're not able to finish the run.
Yeah, for sure. This time, it's funny. I want to say the last time Michigan was in the finals, that is when they lost to Villanova on that last second shot, I believe. That was just a few years back. I want to say like 2015, 2021, maybe. But at the end of the day, like, this Michigan squad is pretty good. But like you said, at the end of the day, just like with the Warriors in the 73-9 uh, title, or 73-9 season, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that ring. So you guys have been number one. The only time I really checked in on this Michigan team throughout this season, though, was when they lost to Duke, and they lost the number one spot ranking in the basketball rankings, and yeah, and so, but they thought they might have to play Duke, as Duke did make it to the Final Four. But instead, Duke ran into the reigning defending national champions in UConn, who overcame a 19-point deficit to knock Duke out in the Elite Eight, and that was just to reach the Final Four. Uh, this team has been one that Danny Hurley is doing something special over there. Period. Like Danny Hurley is doing something really special in Connecticut over there with that men's team, kind of like what Gino Auriemma was doing. Well, me and O'Malley spoke about Gino Auriemma is doing with the women's team over there in UConn, and we'll get to them as well. But they get the upset. Duke is always one of the best teams in basketball, but this definitely ain't your Coach K Duke. So, what are your thoughts on Duke falling early before the Final Four and UConn being the ones to knock them off?
I mean, Duke is still getting a lot of the mega talent out there. They're still kind of picking and choosing most of the prospects that they get. UConn, the men's side of UConn, always seem to find themselves an opportunity about every five-ish years or so to be in position to win a title. So, you got to give credit to UConn. They've always recruited well, and like I say, every 5, 10 years, UConn squeaks up and wins a title you didn't really see coming because they're really more so known for the women's side of basketball versus the men's. But the men's have been doing some damage once a decade or so.
Well, I would trim that number up. I would update that number if I was you, Swap, because according to ESPN and those guys over there, UConn is in their title game for the third time in or seeking winning their third title in 4 years. So they've been on a decent run now. Like I agree with you. Prior to that, the men's team only really became relevant every now and then. But that's again Danny Hurley. That man is coaching his ass off over there in UConn, and they beat number 3 Illinois to secure their top spot in the title game. So is Michigan going to knock off UConn and the beast that is, or is this UConn's third title in 4 years? What do you think, Swell?
I think Michigan runs away with it. They were more so worried about Duke, but now that they can focus on UConn, I mean, I'm not going to say UConn doesn't have a puncher's chance. They've earned the chance to be here. They've beaten some tough teams to get here. But I like Michigan's overall talent. While I do like Hurley, and I remember him from his playing days and his very short Kings career before his car crash, I give him all the respect in the world. And like you said, they have had a good run of getting some chips
Mhm.
recently versus the last few times that they've gotten titles. But I think this is Michigan's time. I'm not going to say surprised if Michigan coughs it up and UConn's able to pull it off because they have been winning as of late. But I think this is Michigan's time.
For sure. Shout out to Saint. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, UConn. Yeah. But let's get the opinion of the one and only Miss O'Malley. How you doing, Mama?
Hey, sorry I'm late.
All good, all good.
My
Well, I'll
husband
say,
called and I looked at the time and I was like, holy shit.
oh, I'll say, all right. So we're talking UConn, Michigan for the men's national title game. Danny Hurley getting his props, kind of like we were talking about Gino Auriemma last week. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. You came right time. Well, I'll say, but Danny Hurley, like possibly up there with Coach K. I don't know if I put him that high yet, but definitely up there with what was that cat that's in Kentucky right now, John Calipari. I put him up there with guys like that for sure. Uh, but what are your thoughts on UConn and this potential third title in 4 years?
I mean, it's UConn. We kind of feel this. It's not surprising, right? Like,
Yeah,
is
right.
anybody shocked? It's UConn. It, I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
It,
Um,
it's
yeah.
although I wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind seeing someone else take it for a minute.
I've been a Michigan fan since the Fab Five, so it'll be nice to see them win
Although
another
technically
title.
I'm supposed to hate Michigan now, right? Because we're in the same conference. So
Oh yeah, because you're
fuck
USC.
Michigan,
Yeah.
go UConn. I don't
She doesn't understand how all that works. Just like I remember an ex of mine taking a picture of me in my Oakland A's sweatpants and my San Francisco 49ers jersey. And she's like, something's not right about this. And I'm like, what? What? It's all Bay Area love. It's all Bay Area love. Should have put on my Warriors hat to go
but a
with it.
friend of mine is the same thing, and her ex-husband, but husband at the time was the opposite, a Giants and a Raiders fan. So together they
It's yep. If you put it all together, I remember telling somebody at one point, I go, there are 4 professional teams in the Bay Area right now. Take your choice of which 2 you want to like, or whatever, because you don't have to be beholden to any of them. They're all your hometown if you live in them. But all right, so now we'll move on to the ladies' side. That I after the diatribe I went on last week, I don't know if I'm qualified to talk about the ladies' side because I gave Gino Auriemma flowers, I gave him a limo, I gave him a tuxedo, I gave him everything.
damn near gave him an Academy Award.
You know exactly. Only for UConn to go out there and lay an egg against South Carolina. He was out coached by Don Staley.
And then for Gino to turn around and act like LeBron.
What did he have a patch over his eye and he was claiming injury? He couldn't see half the court.
No, he was one of the shittiest sports people afterwards. And then apologize with the most passive aggressive apology. It's overly specifying staff.
Oh my goodness. All I know is that every mega dynasty has its spoiler. Like the Warriors, like that spoils team to me. You guys can tell me if you agree. During their run, during their 5-6 game run from like 2015 to like 2020. The Houston Rockets were a spoiler team like that came close to beating the Warriors a couple of times, but didn't really beat them at all. Obviously, because they made it to 5 straight finals, but they were kind of that spoiler team, and I think that this team is kind of that same thing. I've seen Dawn Staley go up against Gino Auriemma a lot recently, and she kind of has his number. Like her game plan helps her team like keep him off balance. So,
well,
anyway.
I just thought it was kind of weird because he acted like they lost to like Sac State.
Damn.
Like, I mean, sorry, Sac State. That really no disrespect. That was just what came out of nowhere. But
I'm not gonna lie to you. If y'all went out, if your women's team went out and beat UConn, like, yeah, I could see Gino being pretty pissed. Like,
yeah,
what?
But it
happened?
was South Carolina. It's not like it was. I mean, this team is starting to get in Dawn Staley. They're starting to get up there with other teams. It's not like they got the floor mopped with themselves by some podunk freaking California Baptist college.
California Baptist.
But I'm serious. I mean, this was South Carolina and Dawn Staley. Like, not a good look, regardless of whatever fucking shenanigans and bullshit he tries to put it on. It's not a good look. It really isn't.
It was Tara Vanderveer at Stanford, I believe, and I forget who the woman was at Tennessee. That when Gino was Pat Summitt, yeah, when Gino was coming up, that he struggled against their squads because their squads basically kind of were the UConns of that day, and you saw him definitely take that with a lot more humble than for some odd reason you saw him take this loss. Well, and the sad thing about it is he's lost to Dawn Staley before. Like, it's not like this is the first time that this South Carolina team has beaten UConn.
He took a shellacking though, so that was I can see that being a little bit different because they got hammered, which is a rarity for UConn.
Yeah, Well, Gina, you just got to keep working that recruiting magic and bring some of the best women in the country to UConn. And
It's
next
not
year
even
that won't
recruiting
happen.
magic. That dude gets like half of the top 15 players every freaking year, ever since like Diana Taurasi. I'm just happy that
Uh,
teams like South Carolina have had the ability to get up and knock them down. Because honestly,
Well,
sometimes you
and their
like
homegrown
dynasties.
kids are starting to decide to stick around and stay there now versus
Yeah.
go elsewhere. And that's the other difference because there's been a couple of players that he really wanted that ended up staying in South Carolina. So,
And I
100%.
also
Yeah.
think that the emergence or reemergence of the WNBA is definitely going to change the dynamic of who stays on top in the women's game because now, back in the day, especially through most of his bread and butter time, you got all those top players for 4 years. They weren't going anywhere except to maybe overseas when it was all over. So they were
yeah.
staying for 4 years, and you had five-star talent or top 10 talent recruiting wise sitting on your bench for 2 seasons before they even really got to play. So now, you might actually start seeing those two and dones. I'm not sure we'll see any one and dones. I'm sure it'll happen eventually. But as the money continues to rise in the WNBA game, I think we'll start seeing those 2 years and outs. And if you haven't used me, it's not my fault, coach. I'm gone.
Now, also, there's one thing I want to address that was said in the comment section underneath one of our reels from last week where me and O'Malley were talking about the WNBA. And they're like, WNBA is still losing money. The NBA is still paying. And it's like, you're really on some like time warp shit, ain't you?
Did they
Like,
not
because
listen to that show? Because we just talked about the fact that they had made enough money this year for people to actually start getting money kicked back to them.
like they signed a $2 billion TV rights deal.
Bro,
Like trust me, that made them
Google.
solvent for at least
Google
the next
works
couple of
great.
years. It's your friend. It reminds me of that episode of Blackish where Anthony Anderson has the song about Google. But anyway, you were gonna say something, Swap?
I don't think Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are getting enough credit as being really, I want to say back in the day, Cheryl Swoops and Cooper and all those ladies, Lisa Leslie, they were kind of like Bill Russell and Wilt. And now you've got the WNBA's version of Bird and Magic.
Magic,
You've
yeah.
got these two ladies that really kind of epitomize what that era was about, getting them the TV rights deal, getting their shows or their games on primetime television.
You
So
know
this
what?
is the beginning. Now they're just waiting on their Michael Jordan. They find their Michael Jordan
You know.
and they'll start making big dollars.
You know what would tickle me pink is to find out years later that the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were behind closed doors, actually great buddies.
You know,
I wouldn't doubt
yeah.
it. I wouldn't doubt it. There's probably going to
I
be
mean,
just like Magic and Bird.
I
Yep.
love the fire, the rivalry, and all of that. But I would love, like years down the road, for it to be like, oh yeah, it was like that out there, but behind closed doors, like
I was
we all
rooting
love
her
this.
on, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was rooting me on. Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
would love to
all
see
it
that.
honestly is going to take is the same thing that happened for Bird and Jordan when they thought they hated each other's guts was,
Yeah.
an ad campaign for Converse. So it's potentially could happen with Clark and Reese.
Somebody
Being on a
decides to get them
women's
both in the
USA
same room.
basketball team together.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. All right, and so in the other matchup outside of North Carolina, we had UCLA randomly uh, beat Texas 51-44 in the Battle of Ones. The Bruins held off the Longhorns in defensive battle, and they reached the title game. Now, I don't know much about this UCLA team. I just know that the Pac-12 or Pac-10 or whatever, the Pac-2, whatever they
Back
are now.
to
I don't know what they are in basketball or if they exist in basketball anymore because I think UCLA is with the Big Ten now.
Yeah, the
But
Big Ten. That's why I said I'm supposed to hate Michigan now.
but these women, like those teams have perpetually been, even dating back to their time in the Pac-12, in the spotlight. Stanford, UCLA, USC from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Even the Cal
it was
women
even us
have
last
ranked
year until a key injury during the Elite Eight or the Final Four.
I think it was the Elite Eight, yeah. And they got knocked off. But Yeah, so they end up making it to the championship game this year to face off against the UConn beater, the Colossus beater, South Carolina. And unfortunately, Suave, what was the score?
I forget, but they shellacked the hell out of South Carolina. South Carolina obviously put all their eggs in the basket of the UConn game, and honestly, they looked so flat. It wasn't even a contest. They got hammered pretty good by UCLA. I think that they just weren't mentally prepared. They thought they would cakewalk them, and that's the problem sometimes when you beat down Goliath, and then you get another David on the other side of the court and just cough up the ball.
You either take down Goliath or live long enough to see yourself become him, huh? I'll say no, 79-51 was the final score. And I think it is one of those series where like they talk about it. Like they talked about this during that World Series after the Yankees and Boston played in the ALCS. And they were like, I think it was the Yankees who won that on Aaron Boone last second homer. Um, but when they were talking about the Yankees going up against I forget who, I believe it was the Diamondbacks that year. And they were talking about the fact that are the Yankees going to have enough emotion to be able to, because they just went through this war with like their biggest rival in Boston, a 7-game battle to the teeth. Are they going to have enough left to fend off whatever they got to face from the NL? And I believe they were. I believe that may have been when they lost to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just it's the same thing with this. Did beating UConn take so much out of South Carolina that they just didn't have anything left when it came time to face off with UCLA?
They won the battle but lost the war.
Yeah.
Pretty much, 100%. And so, but congratulations to UCLA. Unfortunately, I have to also say fuck you, UCLA, because you're bringing that title to the
I'm
Big
sorry,
Ten.
but I can't bring myself to ever say congratulations, UCLA. That's just not.
Yeah, but yeah, congratulations to the Big Ten. You just got yourself another champion by taking a team and dismantling another Power 5 conference in the Pac-12. Anyway, yeah, I will never forgive the Big Ten for that. And I like Michigan. Anyway, let's see. So that's the women's stuff. So all right, we're going to go ahead and take our normal 4-minute break for real quick. And then we will be back to discuss some NBA action and also maybe a little bit of baseball. You are watching Le Classroom, brought to you by First GenXers Presents Broadcast Network right here on Twitch and the Double KK Double Network here on YouTube. So y'all stay with us. We'll be right back. Peace.
We back at it. Yep, we still doing it. Poetic beat. First GenXers. Gia. Let's get it, y'all. Come on. We back in the building. It's been a long time cooking in the soup kitchen. And I'm chilling with the same. Dropping these beats, won't stop, nope, I can't. Let me get up in the lab, turn it up. Game on with the First GenXers. What's up? Let's flip on the switch or the Xbox. Get up in my zone, I'm clowning. Let me clear my throat for a minute. Shout out to my folks while I'm in it. It ain't nothing but love, it's babe business. I really don't know what's so who ain't feeling this. And this is only the beginning. Now versus then, this is something for the chillin'. Poetic got the joints like McDonald's. I'm loving it. It's the First GenXers. We're now rocking with Poetic Beats. This is the First GenXers production. Get your PlayStations out. Get your Xbox out. Get your Switch out. Let's get it in, y'all. Holla back.
got to keep it. Keep it. You got to keep it lovely. You got to keep it. Keep it. You got to keep it lovely. Success comes right after the struggle. I ain't even giving up on whatever I wanted. The tragedies I've seen, I can't even stomach. Most of y'all weak as shit and would've started running. Every time I make it back to the crib, I'm thankful the Most High let me see all of it. Grateful I'm lovely, and I'm being real with this. Please don't judge me. I'ma stay on my shit. I'ma
Adams family like dynamic between Pugsley and Wednesday. Like very true.
Yeah.
Well, I always temper this because I think
I did not like the perceived caution tagline.
I've also seen what Chase Center looks like when the Valkyries are fucking playing, so fuck all of you. Because Chase Center is packed no matter what's going on.
All right, and we are back. There we go. All right, and we are officially back. For those of you who are just tapping in, I am your host, Dark Lord 100, aka Double KK Double, and I'm here with Mr. Schwab and Miss O'Malley, talking all kinds of sports stuff. Now we're going to jump from basketball to, drum roll please. NBA basketball and where we're kind of at. Talk about some of the top stories about what's going on right now in the NBA. Things like where the Pistons sit without Mr. Cade Cunningham and most likely not getting him back before the season's over. And also the new look for the Lakers after the game from a couple of nights ago. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Right now, we'll start off with the Detroit. O'Malley's ready to go now. I'll say the Detroit had themselves a historic moment this week as they clinched the Eastern Conference for the first time since 2007. They do this without the services of Cade Cunningham, who's been out with injury, and I believe will miss most of the rest of the season. So, yeah, because that was everybody's big talk about the 65-game rule being unfair.
Right.
Luka's,
well, he was the first one. Luka's now fucking crying about it too.
yeah.
And looks like he's going to be out of the MVP running too, apparently.
Really?
Because he's having to miss a game. So
I can see them there. The NBA PL, the NBA Players Association is going to bitch about this so much that they're going to have to alter the rule. But I don't think the rule should be altered. We covered that last week when we talked about it. But Suave, what do you think about Detroit, a young buck team going from like barely a playoff team to a playoff team that got bounced, I believe, in the first round last year, to now clinching the number one seed in the East?
It's their ascension. We're seeing a young team perform real well. They are missing their most important person, so they need him to hopefully come back from that collapsed lung during the playoffs, so that way the season isn't for nothing, because that would be the worst thing. But right now they're kind of keeping it together, but at the same time the playoffs is a different animal. You need all your horses to really run in the playoffs. It's very hard to win anything missing not only a player but your best player. But you give them kudos on a hell of a season.
Yep, Jalen Duran has really been the key point of their run, averaging 25 and 10 since they lost Cade Cunningham in mid-March. O'Malley, do you think this is a team that should still be taken seriously without Cade Cunningham as a potential finals or championship team?
Well, so do we know, is there even a possibility that he might make it back during the playoffs? Or is he like done?
I don't know. A collapsed lung is kind of a big thing.
Well, yes. But I mean, the question to that is like, because it does bode them a little better, the fact that they have that number 1 seed. So if he were to come back, you know, a couple rounds in, the fact that they've still been doing what they've been doing without him also is, and this is the time for everybody else to step up. Like, in fact, in that sense, you've got people who are vying for a job kind of thing. So, I mean, I would not count them out just because they're out Cade Cunningham.
Gotcha. It says, according to the
I don't
thing.
see them beating the Celtics, though.
Oh, well, who knows? Like that's an old rivalry. That's always been a good rivalry.
Yeah.
I'll say it's according to Google. Cade Cunningham is expected to return for the start of the NBA playoffs after suffering a collapsed lung on March 17th. So he is likely to miss the remainder of the regular season. While he has been ruled out for at least another week, as of April 2nd, he is expected to be ready for the playoffs.
So, I mean, that's why I kind of asked that question, because them especially being the number 1 seed, even if he was out the first round, right? Like
they still have the advantage.
Yes. But I mean, here's the other thing. How does he play though coming back in after that? So it's one of those things. They're doing well right now.
Big time. All right. So earlier this week, we had a young Wemby go up against a stout veteran known as the Joker in a duel that saw Wemby block Joker at least 4 times. Again, I'm impressed, but the kid's tall. This is what he should be doing at 7'4", 7'5". Not many cats his age can do it, but this is what he should be doing. But let's pivot that talk about that Joker game into the fact that this week Victor Wembanyama has overtaken SGA for the number 1 spot on the Kia MVP ladder, especially following the performance against Joker and a 41 and 18 point game against the Warriors. So Swab, your thoughts on Wemby taking over the number 1 spot in the MVP ranking?
All right, so honestly, I think this is, you got to give Wemby a lot of credit. It's the defensive side of the ball and really being the anchor for what the Spurs have been able to do. I do think that SGA and Oklahoma City allowed the window to be open because they fell off of that beginning pace that they had, where it seemed like they might actually challenge for the all-time wins record in regular season. But with them really kind of falling off of that, it really opened the door up for other players. And I think that Wemby's defense, combined with essentially being the point man for everything San Antonio does, I think this very well could be his first MVP for a team that doesn't deserve it.
Well, not just his MVP. At this point, Wemby is now leading in the MVP ranking and the Defensive Player of the Year, and we know we haven't seen that in the league. Well, since you know who. I'll say, O'Malley, your thoughts on Wemby winning potentially his first NBA MVP?
I mean, it would, if he gets it, it's earned. I think it's definitely been earned this season, and I think that's also shown by the defensive, being in the running for Defensive Player of the Year as well. Like, he's He's earned it. So that'll be interesting to see if he gets both of them.
Yeah.
But
I said it's the last player to do it, if I remember, is Jordan. There hasn't been anybody that's been able to do it in the same year at all.
Yeah.
There are people that own both, like Kawhi Leonard, where he
Right.
owns an MVP and he
Just
has a
not
defensive, but he didn't get it
at
in
the
the same year.
same time.
Yeah. But okay. So the next one is the subject that O'Malley's really happy to touch on. And that there's one guy who's probably not going to win an MVP this year, despite having a spectacular season. And his name is Luka Doncic. And unfortunately, he's out for the rest of the season and potentially the entire first round of the playoffs. And yes, I'm saying and, Lakers fans, put your hands over your ears. Austin Reeves is out for at least the next 2 to 4 weeks, which puts him out through the first round of the playoffs. So, as I saw in a clip that I sent to Suave, JJ Redick must be on Indeed looking for a different job already. Because at this point, the LeBronites have already started talking about, oh, I bet you guys expect him. There ain't no other 40-year-old, 41-year-old expected to lead nobody to no championship. Bro, ain't nobody expecting him to lead nobody nowhere. Ain't nobody expecting his ass to do nothing. Like, maybe Vegas has him high ranked, but ain't nobody in real life.
He's going to lead them to is Cabo.
Odds are good they lose in the first round. Unless they get a weak opponent, somebody that they can dominate, odds are good they're done in the first round. They get anybody that's competitive. And if they aren't done in the first round, they're definitely done whenever they run into Oklahoma City or San Antonio. They're done. So it's been a great season. It's been a great season. Luka, sorry you're going to miss that 65-game mark, bro. Sucks to be you. I'll say Steph Curry is having an amazing season. He ain't going to touch the MVP voting either because he's not going to be on the 65-game mark, even though he is coming back in about 13 minutes for the Warriors game tonight against the Rockets. Last I heard, they are a lock for the 10 seed, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that they've clinched, so they're definitely in the playoffs. They were
that last week. They clinched that last week, so yeah.
So, do you think that getting Steph back is gonna, and hopefully if Kristaps Porzingis can stay healthy, if they can potentially make it a round or two? I'm not saying make a run to the finals. I'd just like to see us after the season they had make a round or two. I kind of feel like about the Warriors like I felt about the 49ers this season. If we win a game in a series in the playoffs or a game or two in the playoffs, that's a win for a season. Because really, with all the injuries that they've had, they really shouldn't even be where they're at.
Yeah, so, but if we win a game into the playoffs just to have a player end up like hurt to the point they aren't even coming back next year or somewhere into next year at this point, because great, we've made it to the playoffs. I mean, and we could possibly win a game or a series or two, but at what possible cost here? Right. Because at this point, for any other team, yes, that's great. Not us. No. At this point, okay, you made it in. Yeah. That's an expectation at this point. So, but I mean, that's not how Steph is built. So
we know. Ask NBA 2K26. It has Steph playing into his 53rd birthday.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm gonna still be here all for it. It's just that there's a concern when, especially him coming off of this injury, it's like, okay.
Like Durant in 19.
Yeah. Or Clay.
Yeah, or Clay. Trying to come back basically before they were ready. But Suave, any thoughts on the Warriors and where they kind of sit right now? What I don't think tanking was ever an option. They're too prideful for that. But is this play-in playoff thing, like, would it be better for them to get knocked out in the first round of the play-in?
I'll tell you like this. I'm sure they asked Steph if he'd be willing to sit out, and he told them just like Giannis did the Bucks. He said, "No, I want to play." So, he wants the opportunity to show that he's still in the upper echelon of star players and that he can make a difference out there. Um, I don't expect them to be true contenders, but
Yeah.
I will say they could make some noise. You got to win two straight in the play-in as the 10 seed. Win the first game, get to the second game, play the first loser, and then get to the 8th seed. And then you would face Oklahoma City. I mean, it'd be awful poetic for the Warriors to get in that position because with Kristaps and Steph, they could, put OKC up against the wall. So I think that they could have an opportunity to win that series, even missing Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy Butler would have been beautiful to watch in that series with Kristaps, but they kind of want to see how it's going to look minus Jimmy Butler going forward. And I think what Steph is really doing is going to see how well he can play with Kristaps in the lineup to determine on if the Warriors how much they're willing to pay to bring Kristaps back.
Yeah. Well, I think they want, from what I've heard, they want the combination of Draymond, Jimmy, Kristaps, and Steph. Like that's what maybe with Pods or Moody running the two. I think that's specifically what they want. But obviously Jimmy's. It's part of the reason why they didn't want to trade him when they traded for Kristaps. Like they didn't want to give up Jimmy. They probably could have gotten Giannis had they been willing to give up Jimmy. Maybe. But I'll say, but they want to see what that combination looks like if they run it back next year. And I agree with you. The main focus combination that they're looking at is Kristaps and Steph. I think it would be nice of them as well to bring back Melton and Al Horford as well to solidify that bench. It reminds me of David West and Leandro Barbosa during our early title runs and the roles that they played off the bench. I think that the Warriors can use that. And I'll be honest with you, Suave. If they can win the 2 games and get into an 8-game series against Oklahoma City and get Al Horford back as a backup to Kristaps and Draymond, I agree with you. I think they could they can make some noise. They can make some noise. But we'll see what happens. The playoffs are coming up soon. But it's going to be hard to watch because I'm not expecting much from this Warriors team at all. They've just been too injured. And Steph's only going to have you. Did you hear the report? And what did you think of it? I'll ask you first, Swamp. The report that Steve Kerr originally said that if the playoffs, like if the play-in started tomorrow, once they locked up that seed, if the play-in started tomorrow, Steph wouldn't be playing because he wouldn't want Steph's first game back to be a play-in game, something of that high intensity. So he prefers him to have a run.
Nice to say it. He's not stopping Steph. There's literally no one in the organization that can tell Steph Curry shit.
Steph owns it all, huh?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. If Steve Kerr said, "Look, Curry, I don't want you to play," and Steph Curry said, "Look, I'm playing," he's playing.
He's playing. I'm gonna have all my jerseys.
Joe Lacob is gonna be on the phone.
Yep.
And Steph's playing.
Yeah, I agree with you. They, like when you got the owner's number in your pocket, like there's not much even the head coach can tell you. And Steph has made Mr. Lacob billions upon billions of dollars. So yeah. Well, I'll say, all right. So last subject of the day is it's been the first week, like 2 weeks of baseball. And what kind of vibes are y'all getting from this season? Like I know we all hate the A's, but they're actually doing okay.
I'm an MLB free agent, so I don't give a shit until October.
Damn, my brother said an MLB free agent. You heard it here first on the Classroom. I'll say.
Hey, that's okay. I'm an NFL free agent. Well, I'm
both
supporting the Dodgers for the husband, but I'm definitely an NFL free agent.
We talked a little bit earlier, you real quick before we talk a little bit more about the baseball, but you well, say, damn it, I hate it when I lose a thought like that.
Kill the conductor.
Right there. Killed the conductor, dude.
Right
Like,
off the
drove it right
tracks.
off the track. Yep. But yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes down to this season of baseball, because I'm gonna tell you that the Dodgers still look good, but there are some other teams that look like they might be able to push the Dodgers. The Yankees being one of them. They seem to have bought their way back to relevance again. And I'm sorry. Name me a season in which like at least 60% of the Yankees starting nine wasn't bought in free agency. Like at some point. Like I very rarely ever seen a team that was fully people that were drafted and trained and brought up by the Yankees.
I mean, I gotta give them their due, and I hate this. I hate having to talk about good about the Stankies, but about half of their team have been drafted throughout the years, including this one, and augmented through free agency with the best free agents typically, outside of the run that the Dodgers are on. But I do gotta give the Yankees their flowers. They have had plenty of homegrown talent mixed in with all that high priced free agency that they've been able to do throughout the decades.
Okay, I'll give you 6 out of 9 were free agents. We're big money free agents. 6 out of 9, and at least 3 of the starting 5 pitchers. Like the Yankees just go out and buy up everybody else's talent. I like the Dodgers right now, but I don't mind it when the Dodgers.
You know what's actually worse than that?
What's that?
Is being an owner of a team like Fisher and having more money than fucking baseball and refusing to spend it.
Yeah. I don't understand how like basketball has it. If you're not going to give us a salary cap in baseball, give us a salary floor that rises. Meaning, like in football, there is a salary floor. A lot of people don't talk about it, but there's a minimum amount that teams have to spend on their roster every season. Baseball should be the same thing. Like there should be a minimum amount that teams have to spend on their roster. So,
that shit will not fly when they're in Vegas.
Yeah.
He's going to have to part with some money or sell the team to somebody who will, because just like the Raiders are recognizing that they fucked up and more than half the fans that are at games aren't even Raider fans. Yeah. The A's are going to find out very in a hard way that the way he's been doing business in Oakland is not going to work in Vegas.
Yeah.
I think it's also a huge detriment to the A's in Vegas is that there's going to be 80 plus games versus just the 8 or 9 that the Raiders have to play and are able to bring in people for. I think you're going to see this shiny new stadium more often than not a third full. It's going to look just like the Coliseum, only it'll be in hot ass Vegas. So, I mean, I don't think they really prepared for that. And outside of the money, I mean, I'll be honest, Fisher has never given the appearance or desire to want to win. So my understanding is that he's getting the stadium. He'll be the owner for about 2 or 3 more seasons. The A's value, even without winning, but just because they own the stadium, will raise their price by about 2 some odd 3 billion, and he'll probably sell them for 5 to 6 to 7 billion and make out like a bandit, since he's literally only worth like 2 or 3 billion, which is crazy numbers for us. But in terms of being a billionaire, he's on the lower end of actual billionaire owners. But
he's a broke billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, but let's be honest, it would be nice if and he's not alone. There's been a handful of other skinflint type owners, but what's the purpose of owning a sports franchise if you have no desire to win? And not just no desire to win, you're praying for a one-off championship. What is the point? Why even own? You could have sold last year, the year before. You could have sold. You shouldn't even bought the team if you didn't have an actual desire to own. And that's why I appreciate everything that the Dodgers have done, because a new ownership team came in with a desire to win and paid to win. And every fan base in every sport should relish the opportunity to do it, because I mean, look at soccer. Manchester City, Manchester United, they pay to win. The Patriots paid to win. The Warriors paid to win. And here we got the former Oakland Athletics. Now they're just the Athletics. But you literally have owners out there that don't give a shit as long as they make a couple of milli on the back end, and that's why I appreciate MLB turning off the spigot for the sharing. But what's the point if you don't want to win? I just don't understand it. You're literally dealing with athletes that want nothing more than to actually win a ring, and you could care less. It's crazy as shit just because you're in the boys club. Lunacy.
It's because to some people, the team is just an asset. It's just another asset. Like you and like I want to see out of every new owner in every sport that Steve Ballmer type energy. Like he came in wanting to try to make the Clippers something after years of being nothing. And that's what you want to see. You look at from the DeBartolos to the Yorks, you went to a group of people that wanted to help see the 49ers win. And for every time that you have that type of switch where you all of a sudden find somebody, or if you're a Yankees fan, you're lucky enough to have an owner that's willing to spend that money to try to win championships and be competitive. When you're a fan of a team like the Athletics, it sucks watching other teams do this. This is why I'm not a fan of the Yankees. It sucks watching another team buy up your stars, your star players, and use them to win championships and compete for them.
But I mean, and that's the even worst part of it at that time. Now, I know we can't really blame Fisher for that part, but
right.
We have other people like Lucifer Wolf we can blame for that. And how are you going to send those players to our rival?
Yeah, to the damn Yankees. Like it's like only time I've ever been okay, and I don't remember if it was the Yankees or the Blue Jays that he did this to, but I think it was the Yankees. When they traded Ricky Henderson to the Yankees, did he stay there, or was it the Blue Jays where they traded him there, and in that offseason he became a free agent and he came right back to Oakland? I
I'm
forget
not
if it was the
sure
Yankees.
how that worked out. But he played for a lot of teams. I mean, hell,
Yeah,
Ricky
he
Henderson, he could play right now at like 50 plus, you know what I mean? Or try to.
I think he passed
But
away, so I don't think he
yeah.
can play anymore. But
He'd still play.
He's still playing up there, okay?
Right.
He up there.
I mean,
He up there running 40s.
But
he up there running
But
40s with Lou Brock.
the only A's owner I give credit is Steve Schott, because he wasn't a billionaire. He was just 100 millionaire. Everything was based in real estate. And he bought the team back when, contracts weren't necessarily crazy, which is why he only sold the team for like before they even hit $1 billion. I don't even think it was $500 million when he sold the squad. So
Wolf,
I give him credit. He was cheaping us out because he had to be cheap because he couldn't afford it. Fisher doesn't have that excuse.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so. So, all right, y'all, we're going to wrap it up there. Again, a big thank you to the both of you for joining us, and thank you to everybody who's been watching. But yeah, it's the whole athletic situation is just so jacked up. Like it's like you sold to the one. Weren't there were plenty of other options of people that they could have sold to that would have kept the team in Oakland, that would have worked out a contract for a stadium there, understood what the team meant to the Oakland people, that they could have sold to, and they sold to the devil in disguise yet again, just like they did with Lou Wolf. Only this time the devil picked up and took the team with him to Las Vegas. And now a team that should be back in Oakland. I would say this. I would love to see the A's get the redemption arc that the Raiders never had. When the Raiders came back from Las Vegas, or not Las Vegas, but Los Angeles, and came back to Oakland, and then unfortunately up and moved their ass to Vegas years later. I would love to see the A's make their way back to Oakland and potentially become the Oakland Athletics again with a new owner that's willing to spend.
I love that script.
But yeah, like I said, it's just a script. I'm not saying it's there. I'm not
saying
they're
tied for 20, 25 years.
I'm not saying it's anything realistic. I'm just saying you find the right owner and maybe he's willing to do what it takes to get them back there. But until then, yeah.
Well, I mean, I see them. I see their first 2-3 years being abysmal, and going for a completely different rebrand after that, and them not even being the Athletics. Because what's the point? Because you're not. No matter what is said right now, a lot of the fans that you have, you're not taking with you. At least not geographically, you're not, and you're getting so far away from just the team that you were. Why even bother? You can't even get Las Vegas Athletics copyrighted. You can't, you can't, or trademarked. So why not just rebrand? Why not?
Yeah. I can see that.
I mean,
I'm just curious
I
on
can
if he's even going
understand
to
why
bother
the
spending
Raiders
money.
wouldn't, because so much of that is it, and them getting what they got was directly tied to it being the Raiders.
Right.
The Vegas thing, it feels more like it being a Major League Baseball team than it being the A's.
Right. I feel you. Very well said. All right. So, Swab, you're up first. Any last words, sir?
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't got much. Spurs didn't deserve this MVP that Wemby's probably going to win. I'm happy that the Lakers are going down in flames and hopefully LeBron's last season, but I got a feeling he's going to come back for next year. I'm hoping he doesn't pull off a miracle and win a round or two, because Brondashians will never let us hear the freaking end of it. But yeah, I'm real curious about the first season the A's are actually playing in Vegas. Will he actually spend money to put a competitive team out there? Because I know the fans, there's some A's fans or Athletics fans in the Vegas area, but traveling, the Bay Area fans that used to go to games and when they actually were winning, sell out the Coliseum. I'm real curious to see how that stadium is going to look more often than not every other night.
For sure. And Miss O'Malley?
I mean, fuck LeBron. What else can I say? I am so over him. I'm overhearing about it. They've just set up his fucking more crybaby bullshit excuses because Luca and Austin Reeves are out now. And oh my gosh, can you believe what he's doing at 437 years old? And he's been in the league for like 320 of those. And can you, he's the greatest of all time. And you know, he came in as a senior citizen and brought them to where they are. He can't do it all on his own. God, fucking pick an argument, folks. Either he's the best thing since sliced bread, or he can't do it on his own. He can't really be both of those things at the same time. So just go home. And please just leave LA. I am so sick of hearing it. I please just leave. Go back to Cleveland somewhere. No, those two things cannot be true at the same time. Some things can be true at the same time. Those two things cannot be true at the same time. I'm sorry. They can't.
Fair enough. All right.
Who cares if Bronny came on and did what he did if y'all ended up still getting the freaking floor mopped with you?
Oh, man.
All right.
And yeah, she got, you tell him, O'Malley. I'm right there. Let's see. Oh my goodness. All right. And lastly, me, thank you for tapping in. Orange 834, appreciate it. We all have our own opinions, and I'm right there with O'Malley though. Like, I'm just tired of the double standards, the triple standards, the great on one hand, but old man on the other hand. It doesn't diminish his GOAT argument. There is no diminishment to the GOAT argument. What he has to offer, and I'll bring everybody back up for this one. What he has to offer as far as the GOAT conversation is done.
GOAT argument?
There is no more. There is no more that LeBron can do that's going to elevate him any higher than where he is, and that includes winning another championship, or even being the center point of winning another championship. For a lot of people, there's nothing else that LeBron's going to be able to do. So good luck to him in the hopes that he that he goes out there and looks competitive, but the odds are good he's not going to do much. And I'm not saying that as somebody who wants to see him either way. I'm really kind of, how do you say, neutral on LeBron. I could give if LeBron succeeds, I could give if LeBron fails, but the only thing I hate is that what I'm going to have to hear from his supporters if he succeeds. That's the only thing I dread. No problem.
Because they're worse winners than they are losers.
Exactly. And so at the end of the day, is LeBron one of the greatest players to ever step on a basketball court? I think the answer to that question is yes. But is he the greatest? Not in my personal opinion. And I don't understand why that's not okay. I don't understand why that's not okay.
He belongs on the list, just not on the top of it.
Right.
Folks get mad when I say he's ninth on my list.
He's not even. I mean, he's barely top 10.
Well, and here's the thing. I will always say whenever somebody says he is third, fourth, fifth, seventh, people say constantly it's an insult to him to have him anything below 2. No, because everybody's individual standards for what they consider to be the greatest basketball player of all time is different.
It's
so
subjective.
Therefore, yes, exactly. So whatever LeBron has accomplished, you may consider that enough to put him on top of that mountain. Others may not consider it enough to put him on top of that mountain. And guess what? Here's the kicker to it all. You're both right. Because it's your list. It's your list. You can put him wherever you please. And guess what? It's still of all time. Like second at the highest. Some of us have him as low as ninth of all time. But yeah, like, that's just the way it is. And respecting other people's thought process in the fact that they have every right to not have LeBron in their top 3 and not be considered some basketball dullard just because they don't particularly care for his particular style of play. Like, okay,
context matters.
Context matters. And our commenter says this is a very reasonable argument, but I don't see what metric you could use that wouldn't have him at number 7.
How about this one? My husband and I were just talking about this yesterday or today when I was on my way back here. Is that one of the reasons why we put Curry above LeBron is because Curry makes the players around him better.
Yeah. There's a visible metric to it.
So it's not just about stats and things like that. It's leadership, it's responsibility, it's being a teammate and making the players around you better. And that,
I haven't seen an example of that. And I think the fact that he jumps, and I went off on my diatribe a few weeks ago about this. You guys remember this, about LeBron is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. The man has never been a good leader. If you truly watch him from the perspective and through the microscope of being a leader in Cleveland, and he may have had games or stretches of games where, yes, that leader came out, but 90% of the time in clutch situations, he's not a leader. He is a great player. He definitely has some fire to him. I don't know if if it was close to Mamba mentality. That's all subjective. But the man has a fire in him, and he loves the game of basketball. But he has never been a natural leader, and I think that has been one of the biggest flaws for me in keeping him out of that number 1 spot. Is that although people did not like MJ's leadership style, MJ was a leader from day one. He may not have always led his team to the championship. He has more seasons where he didn't win than he has that he did. But he from day one to the final day, you saw it on the court. He was a leader. And so, okay, fair enough. He said in 2018, LeBron made his teammates way better. I don't know if, again, I think that goes back to, do you consider that he's the one that made his teammates better in 2007, when in reality, that was a top 10 defensive team, like without LeBron. Like LeBron was a part of that, but that was a top 10 defensive squad. You may not have known the names. They may not have been superstars, but they were a top tier defensive squad that year that they went to the finals and lost to the Spurs. I'm not saying he doesn't make his team better. Again, my point is he's not a good leader. Like, I think that's part of the reason why him and Kyrie didn't last more than a couple of seasons. Is I think even at the beginning, Kyrie looked up to him like a big brother, and LeBron's just not that dude. And that fractured their relationship and eventually caused Kyrie to want to go somewhere else. Right on. The comment was that even if we look at Austin Reeves, his style of leadership is more as a teacher, but he respects what I'm saying. But anyway, we can get into this and LeBron and all this all night long, but we don't have all night long. So Orange834, thank you for joining us. Kyrie doesn't count.
Come back next week because I got something for you.
Oh, Swab's going to be back next week? All right, that works. Yep. Jaw drops. Jaw hit the floor. We get 2 weeks of Swab. Y'all ain't never known what it's like to have that. So here you go. All right, so that's going to do it for us for today. Thanks for following, joining us right here, Orange834 on Twitch. We appreciate it. Yeah, jump back in, bro. We always love the conversation. So till then, y'all have a great night. Saint, if you're still watching, you as well. You should be on next with some MVT fusion, some music and video games. And I'll be back on Tuesday with some NCAA college football 26 on the Xbox.
And I got the Bron receipts. I'm fucking ready.
Let's have it. Let's have the breakdown. Deuces.